Hiya, mate. How you doing? Old Jag, evening. Right, so that's that bit. Next thing, I had prepared something to share with you, and I'm gonna pull it up on screen now. So I think I'm going to disappear, but I'm certainly not going to see your comments just yet. I'll come back to them. So I'm going to share my screen and share this. Okay, so I'm hoping you are screen sharing. Oh, good. Oh, it's all working, I think. I'm hoping you guys can see a picture of a strut mount, the cushion that sits at the top of an X100's front towers underneath the struts, the spring struts. And I've had an interesting few emails from Nicola Del Bosco. I'm not sure if Dal's a separate word, Nicola, so apologies if I'm mispronouncing stuff. And they've got a 97 XK8. Now, Nicola has replaced these strut mounting plates, which are basically sandwiches with a neoprene in between. But the damper top pokes through the hole in the middle, tightens down, and it isolates the spring and damper from the bodywork. And what is happening, if I click forward, is that the picture on the left is the picture of the one side of Nicola's car, and the picture on the right is the other side. And what you can see is that the damper top is completely off center. Now they start on center, and after about 10 to 15 miles, this is the situation. And the situation with the right-hand image is so extreme that you get lots of banging and knocking noises, because now the strut top is able to touch metal and is hugely noisy. Now, that's kind of interesting, and I must admit my initial thoughts were, where did you buy your strut mounts from? They're obviously made of custard or something like that. But no, these things are, SNG Barrett or similar supply, and these have been changed twice with the same effect. So there's something going on very strange here. I've never seen this effect, and I'm struggling to work out what would be causing it, other than the subframe on the car being really out of whack and presenting the suspension at a very funny angle. Because, the top's not that well guided. It's a long way from the mounting point at the bottom. So I'm really interested to know, folks, have you ever seen anything like this? Have you experienced it yourselves? Have we got some advice that we can share with Nicola? So I'm just going to stop sharing that for a second so that I can see you folks. Well, I can't see you folks, but I can see maybe your messages. And let's go back to where we were. And yeah. Udo's joined us. Excellent news. Hi, Udo. How you doing, mate? We've got Skyfall again on an XKR 2007 4.2. How to upgrade it and tune it to reach 500 horsepower. Wow. Well, 500 horsepower, I can't help you with. But to go from standard to get the biggest bang for your buck, you just need to change the supercharger pulleys. It's an easy mod on any XKR, regardless of 4 litre or 4.2. And I might get this wrong, but I don't think so. You change the pulley on the supercharger for a much smaller pulley, and the bottom one, the drive, for a larger one. Maybe that one stays the same, can't remember. But there are lots of kits available out there. And if you fit that smaller pulley on the supercharger, you will gain significant horsepower. Will you gain 100? Nope. Will you gain 30 or 40? Very likely. Do you mean the pulley? Yes, I do mean the pulley. And that will do the job. If you want to go higher than that, then obviously look at induction system, airbox, filters, look at your exhaust system. That will give you another little bit. And then beyond that, you're moving into remaps for the car and getting it professionally remapped. One of our contributors, your name eludes me just at the moment, an Italian fellow, has got a very, very powerful XKR, and his Facebook page shows all the mods he's done. Very expensive, but very impressive. I'll find out what that is and I'll add it to the comments for this video afterwards. Gerard, my daughter's Peugeot 208 had similar symptoms, so we're back to the strut tops now. Solved it by retorquing the fixings. Sounds too simple for this though. Yeah, I hear you, Gerard, I really do. I guess the fly in the ointment for me is they've fitted 2 lots of this top strut mount, and yeah, I wouldn't think they would go that wrong twice. Unless maybe the car's being jacked up in a really unusual way to fit these, and then when it settles, it's pushing them over. So, but I can't imagine how that would be done. If you're jacking up the front of the car, Nicola, there's a cross member just behind the radiator. Feel below, beneath the plastic shroud or under tray, you'll find a cross member. Jack in the middle there, and you're lifting the whole of the car, and everything should stay flat. But again, I'm clutching at straws, hoping that somebody's going to come up with something pretty significant there. Skyfall, give us a big thumbs up. Thank you so much. Jules Red Eye, late on parade, but evening. No problem, mate. Steve Pitts, for great little documentary on Jaguar engineer and designer Malcolm Sayer. Type Malcolm Sayer into the YouTube search engine. Brilliant man. Thank you very much. I will be doing that straight after this video. Thanks, Steve. I love a good bid. Richard Scully. Hi, John, and everyone else from Northern Ireland. Yay! Keep the vids coming. You just get better. Oh, cheers. It's the beard, isn't it? Okay, so we'll keep on looking back at your comments, and if anybody's got any more advice for Nicola, if you would put it in the live chat, brilliant. If not, comments below the video afterwards would be fantastic. So I'm now just going to look back to my other screen. This is a bit clunky, I know, but hey ho. And share screen again. And bring us on to a bit of feedback I've been promising you for a while and just haven't found a way of doing it till today. Here we go. So hopefully you can see a picture of a previous thumbnail of a previous video. I need help, X100 fans. The picture is actually Purdy, my aquamarine current 1996 car, sat next to PJ, my previous carnival red XK8, just after she'd been fully restored, and the two got back together, and oh, it was very emotional. But that video was all about these things. Excuse the ad title here bit. These things are weights that sit above where your rear silencers are, if you still have rear silencers, and they're bolted through metallastic bushes, much the same as void bushes that you'd use on your suspension, using very significant bolts into captive nuts in the rear chassis legs. And the video was actually asking the questions about, can anybody give the true story behind what these are, how they came to be, and why it is that not every car has them. Now, I know, because I've done work inside Jaguar, and I've been around cars a lot. I know what they are. They are harmonic dampers. They are big slabs of metal. Not the most elegant solution, but there you go. That are bolted to the chassis in a flexible way to remove a resonance. So maybe under certain circumstances, the back of the car shimmied, shugled, or caused scuttle shake. Or maybe there was a boom coming from the boot area, which was caused by flexing and vibration in the rear legs. Either way, these weights just exist to stop a resonance and either change its amplitude or frequency to move it out of an irritating zone. So that's what they are. But in doing the video, the comments after it got really, really interesting, because what we were learning is that the one or two cars I've seen without them, I've always assumed they got removed by mechanics who didn't know what they were, and they're not going to be doing an awful lot. Took them off and just thought better of replacing them. Then it started to emerge that some cars didn't have the holes to fit them, which opened up a whole new field of inquiry. So we ran a poll, and that poll ran on the community area of our YouTube channel's homepage. And about 120 of you completed the poll for me. And that was to find out how many or what percentage of cars, based on a sample of 120, have these, don't have these, have the holes, and try and work out why some have, some don't. Here's the results. Just gonna change the way you view this, make it a bit better. Weights versus no weights. These are percentages, the two figures. They don't add up perfectly because just the way the poll worked, but they're percentages. So what we can see is, let's say, a little under 2/3 of the cars, or at least the cars of our respondents, have the weights fitted. 1/3, a little more than that, don't. So don't is very significant. This isn't just a few cars. Were the mounting holes present? It's a different data set. Not everybody responded to each question. So if you're adding up the numbers and go, hold on, this should look slightly different. It's an imperfect data set. Are the mounting holes present? 52% approximately had the holes and the weights. Obviously the holes were there because the weights are bolted on. 15% I've got no weights fitted, but the holes are there to mount them. So there could be cars where they'd been removed. Could be. And 33% didn't have the holes, full stop. So we're getting a mixed message here. And my instincts ran to, oh, it's going to be related to a date, or it's going to be related to a model. I know we only have two models, sort of coupe or convertible, and then you have two engines, XKR, XK8, but I thought there's going to be a connection there. Weights by year. So did my XK8 have weights? You can see that the dominant number is in the year 96 to 98. So a significant number of our cars with weights, and that's 46 individual cars, were in the 96 to 98 range. As soon as we move forward from that, there's a significant drop. So you might think, oh, okay, well, it's an early car thing and it phased out. But look at the spread. This carries on right up until 2006, or at least the bucket 2003 to 2006. So these weights were being fitted basically throughout the model years. The reason for picking these buckets, by the way, the 96, 98, 99, is about model years and reasonably significant changes in the car, rather than just every 2 years. Which body had got the weights? So you can see this is again slightly different data set, but it's predominantly convertible cars that have the weights. So if you've got weights, chances are it's on a convertible. Is it an XK8 or XKR thing? On first reading, you know, it's 3/4 of it's XK8. It's about the XK8, not about the XKR. But I think we also need to read in to that the majority of XKRs are coupes, certainly in the UK, whereas XK8s are more of a mix of convertibles and coupes. So I'm going to read that one with a bit of a pinch of salt. So I'm going to leave that one there and just come out of the data for a second. Hopefully I'll just pop back on screen. I'm just going to move. Oh dear. I think I've lost control in slideshow. Move that out of the way. Bring that back. Sorry, it's a bit clunky, guys. Yeah, so the only conclusion is it's inconclusive. And I still really need to know what is going on. I don't believe that cars were tested and those that needed these dampers had them fitted. That can't be true, because the rear chassis legs, if they all had the screw threads in them to mount the weights, then it could be true, but a lot of cars don't have them. So there's something else going on here. It's very interesting. That sounds good at Steve Pitts. Alex Rizzo, that's very difficult. Find now, that might be find how, to remap a 97 4-litre. Any XK8 maybe, someone has a trick. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you've got an early 4-litre XK8, like mine, I wouldn't recommend electronically trying to push it too hard, to be honest. It produces excellent power, and maybe the map is maxed out. Well, it's not maxed out. None of them ever are. I don't think there's a lot more in there, and most people would shy away from remapping that for you. The XKRs, there seems to be more of a market for people doing remaps, and later cars remaps. Yeah. Robert Twining, to get 500 brake horsepower, buy a 5-litre XKR. Write a policies for a better Britain. That is the quickest way to get 500 brake horsepower. Yeah, if you want serious horsepower, just get a really late XKR. Skyfall, I'm asking since I have an XKR 4.2, simply. Otherwise, yes, I can get a 5-litre, but I'm not willing. Well, to be fair, and no disrespect to the later cars, I prefer the X100 shape to the 5-litre or XK shape anyway. Doesn't mean I don't want one of them too. And don't forget to put your finger up, guys. No idea what we're on about. Def Gen Jag. Oh, strut could be excessive caster angle. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, Nicola and anybody else, when you remove the top wishbones on your XK8, XKR, there are washers either side of the bushings, and it's really critical that you get the right number of the right size of washers to go back in the right gaps, because that changes the caster angle on the car significantly. The distance above the bottom ball joint means it has quite an impact on the steering angles. there's some logic in there. I've got to say that's got some possibilities. So maybe have a think, Nicola, if has something changed? Have the bushes been changed? And is it possible that the wishbone has gone back with the wrong number of washers, or when you've been changing a strut, or whoever's changed them for you, I don't know, have the washers been removed or put back in the wrong place? That has got a lot of logic to it. Thank you very much. So Def Gen Jag, I think you're on the closest to the answer there at the moment. Gerard Booth, my car doesn't have the dampers, but does have an exhaust boom. Yeah, well, maybe. I still think that most exhaust booms are probably rear bumpers booming, unless you've got silencers. Sheet steel can make a boom. Pipes are generally too stiff to boom. Yeah, you can have unpleasant exhaust sounds, but to get a resonant sound from them takes some doing. Robert Twining, my XK8 has lost one of these and the bumper is now loose. Oh, wow. It's lost one. Crikey. That must have made a dent in the road. Alex Rizzo, thumbs up. Thumbs up, not fingers up. That's all. Yeah, you're going to have a thumbs up. Paul Warner, Gerard Bood, that's probably the answer. Question is, where is the TTG meet? Some synchronicity is possible. I'm coming to it, Gerard. Meet. I know. Stephen Oakley, hi, John. Sorry I'm late. Very disappointed, Stephen. Hiya, mate. How you doing? Jagvet1, hello, confused badger. Arizona here. My fellow badger-wearing mate from Arizona. How you doing, pal? I was watching you with your swamp cooler yesterday. I have no need for a swamp cooler because you know Blighty, but I still enjoyed it anyway. Udo, hi, boss. Hi, Udo. Jules Red Eye, due to new brake pads all round soon. Views on best options, OEM or aftermarket? Always a good one. Well, as you know, I've gone aftermarket. I've gone for, what have I gone for? I've forgotten now. Red Stuff. Oh, crikey. EDM? ECB. Crikey. ECB Red Stuff. Why did I go for them? A, I was doing the brake upgrade, so it was interesting. And B, because they're ceramic based and generate less dust, and the dust they do generate is grey rather than black, so your wheels stay cleaner. They don't fade as much, not really an issue for me, and they don't commit as much brake pad transfer as our standard OEM pads, meaning that when you stop, when the brakes are hot, you're in an automatic car, so you keep your foot on the brake and it boils off some of the resin and sticks to your discs, and then you get juddering brakes. So I went for EBC Red Stuff for all of those reasons. OEM is excellent quality stuff. If you've got Brembo brakes, then fit Brembo pads. What's everybody else's opinion? Right, okay. Robert Twining, the overaxle exhaust gives the best added brake horsepower if a K&N air filter is also added, I find. Yeah, it's got to be said, you know, every little helps. The K&N filter or, you know, airbox changes can allow the engine to breathe more air if it needs it. The more mods you do elsewhere, the more that the intake end is getting closer to its limits. The XK8 is not close to its limits for air intake. I fitted K&N air filters on mine previously because I like them. I like the fact that they're washable, renewable, etc. Technically, the OE paper one will scrub the air better. So it is a judgment call with those things. Monica McCready, hi John. Hi Monica. Def Jam. Actually, Monica, one of your picture is one of the ones that sticks in my mind in connection with your name, the picture that you sent in for the calendar last year, because you're below a script sign on a wall, and I remember typing it in, thinking, is that like a store or a brand name? I don't know. I still don't know. But yeah, your name always reminds me of your photograph just because of that. Deft End Jack, was there any correlation to the arch dampers and the audio amp setup? To the arch dampers and the audio amp setup. I like where you're heading there, Def Gen Jack. So what we're saying basically is we have premium and we have bass hi-fi. Premium hi-fi has an amplifier. Is that damper something to do with removing a frequency that's picked up on one system and not on the other? Very interesting. Don't know how that would work, but doesn't sound implausible. Gareth Davies, moving the top wishbone fore and aft will affect caster, but have no effect on the strut, which is bolted to the lower wishbone. You are right. You are completely right, Gareth, as always. So how would it influence? It's got to be something that influences the twist on the bottom or lower wishbone in order to have an effect at the top. So again, I'm back to my subframe is not bolted up properly, or the mounts are completely shot, or something like that. Yeah, very, very good point, Gareth. Well done. Udo, yeah. Jaguar, it's blasting away right now. That'll be the swamp cooler. EBC brakes. EBC, mate. Yeah, so we're getting votes for EBC. And you're reminding me what the hell I was on about. That's the 30-second delay. Monica, Spencer's, and it's a restaurant. Thank you very much, Monica. You know, that really shouldn't matter to me in the wrong country what you were parked outside, but it just did. Now I know. Thank you very much. Dave Jag, might be the fitment of the harmonic dampers be dependent on the wheel and tire size? Interesting. I don't think so. Don't think so. Trying to picture now. I mean, the exhaust is below it. So it's not a clearance thing, but maybe there's a connection with vibrations that are generated with one wheel set and not the other. Old Jag, do you have any concerns about the availability of quality parts for our cars in the coming years? Ooh, that's coming up. Particularly electrical stuff, as XK8 seems so sensitive in this department. I'm going to come on to that in relation to comment from Gary Van, let's get it right, Gary Van Remertel. Gary, if you're out there, sorry, I murder your name every time I say it. Very similar question, so we're going to have a quick chat on that in a second. And last one before I switch over, Monica again. I have a coolant leak with residue on top of the transmission. Ooh, it seems I've got half a message there, or one letter extra. On top of the transmission. If you're seeing that from under the bonnet, and it's definitely coolant, i.e. bright orangey pink colour, it sounds like it's either the pipe that heats the throttle intake or the valley pipe is leaking. The only things I can think would be spraying back towards the top of the transmission. If it's not pink or orange, then it's more likely to be air conditioning condensate that's leaking from places it shouldn't. And there is two pipes either side of the transmission tunnel, inside the car, under the carpet, that could spray condensate on top of that. But I'd be interested in what everybody else thinks on that one. Gary Moores, is it okay to fit EBC red stuff pads on standard calipers and discs? Yes, absolutely. You don't have to swap to their discs. So nice, cheap, easy fix. Should I invest in manufacturing aftermarket spares now then? Stu, knock yourself out. I'll make you a list. But yeah, that's the problem. A lot of the parts that we're going to need in the future are going to be rather expensive to make. Hard to access and pink. Yeah, so it is coolant. So it is probably the heater pipe for the throttle body, or the valley pipe. There's a pipe that runs between the banks of the V, the full length of the engine. That does tend to eventually give in just because the heat that's there. Fitment of harmonic dampers linked to non-cat suspension. I never specifically asked the question, but because the harmonic dampers were more prevalent on very early cars, more prevalent on XK8s, more prevalent on convertibles, it is possible. That is another interesting one. Gareth, you're on fire tonight. That's all I can say. So I might have to do another little poll that says, do you have cats on your non-weight car? Do you have cats and you've got a weighted car? Something like that. Just to, if it's night and day, you may have cracked it. I'm going to move away from this just for a second and come back again. So excuse the clunkiness. Going to share screen. Going to my little slide set. Now we're sharing, I think, well, maybe I'm not. I don't know what I'm sharing anymore. One sec. Stop share. Share. That's better. PowerPoint. Yeah, apologies for the clunkiness, guys. I'm a little all over the place. Meetups. Let's just, I know you can see all this. It's not a problem. I need to just talk through it slowly though. So meetups, I've been asked a lot when we're going to have a meetup, when we're going to do something that's a get together. I fully intend to do some get togethers. I'd like to meet up with some of you folk and have chats and compare shininesses and go for a little drive and all that sort of good stuff. And I really did think that last year was going to be the year we did that. That was the plan until everything happened. And then towards the end of last year, I thought, well, as soon as we start this year, we can start planning it. And of course, things are still happening. We are heading towards opening up properly, but things are still a little uncertain. And I am a big one for saying, if we're doing it, we're doing it. I hate cancelling stuff. Plus, I work for myself, I travel around, all that sort of good stuff. So being able to allocate some time, if I've booked to go and do something with you guys, then I'll not be taking on some work for that. And so I don't want anything to be cancelled. So plans going forward fall into 3 categories. A, I'm going to let you know about a few of my planned excursions a little ahead of time. So, for instance, I mentioned it previously, there's a really good couple of auto jumbles that I go to. I also sometimes go to the Jag Spares event at Newark Showground. If any of you have been to that, then you'll know about it. Things like that, I will probably just let people know a couple of weeks beforehand that I'm going there, so that if you want to be there, want to join up, want to just look out for Purdy, you'll spot her and we can have a chat. But equally, not to swamp on unknowing events and we take them over. I'm definitely going to do some sort of dedicated gathering, even down to having some camping facilities so that people can come a bit of a distance. I do have a venue in mind that has the right facilities, that is also an interesting place to visit, and we'll let you know about that when appropriate. If I have to hang on to that for another whole year, I will, because when we do it, we'll do it. But then we've got C, which is the plan. And Gerard, this is your big moment, mate. I was thinking about this same thing, but Gerard has really prompted me on it. Let's all go to the anniversary gathering. What are you talking about, John? Well, 4th of September this year is the 25th anniversary of our cars. The X100's launch, 25 years old. And there's a club, in inverted commas, called the Jaguar Breakfast Club, which, if you're outside the UK, you're definitely not going to know about necessarily, although there are sort of branches. It's not really a club. There's no membership fee. You don't join it as such. It's an individual who started saying, I'm going to meet up with people with my sort of car, Jaguars, at this place every month. And it's become known as the Jaguar Breakfast Club. And typically they meet at the British Motor Museum, which is brilliant and the biggest collection of British cars in a museum anywhere in the world. It's on the same site as the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust, which is a museum that owns all of the historic Jaguars and is, you know, it's the factory museum in effect. So on the 4th of September, the Jaguar Breakfast Club is meeting, as it would anyway, at the British Motor Museum. They would normally get 100 or more Jags. This particular date means, you know, it's going to be measured in the many hundreds. I spoke to the guy who runs it. He's thinking there might end up something like 800 XK8s, XKRs, who can tell. So Jaguar Breakfast Club is run, if you can call it run, because it's not a club, by Peter Simpson. There's his contact details. I've chatted with him about us gathering at this event. He's explained that because of the anniversary, it's actually being run by the Jaguar Daimler Heritage, and they're attending, so it's kind of out of his hands a little bit, but it should be free. There may be tickets involved just because of numbers who might want to attend, but typically it's free to turn up and park up and mill around. Because it's on the site of the two museums, most people will want to go and visit those things. It's £10 to visit both if you're an adult, or £14 to basically visit as many times as you want throughout the year, both museums. And details are not out yet. It's still an emerging thing, but you can check out the various websites for yourselves. They may ask that you book a ticket to the museum to get in, and it may be an outdoor ticket and it might be free, or an indoor ticket and it's paid for. We'll see. But I'm going to be there, simple as that. And so will Purdy. And I am going to go visit the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust. I don't think you can visit both on the same day, both museums, because too big, too much to see. Let's just take a little look. I put a few images for you of some of the X100 related vehicles they've got. This isn't all of them. So they've got both XJ41 and 2 prototypes. These are the XK8 and XKR that Jaguar was going to build, but then it didn't have the money. And as you can see by the years 88, it was before the Ford year. When Ford joined in, they threw all the money into the pot, but also said, so with all this extra money, have a go again. So these cars never came to fruition, but the cars are there, and you can see the original prototypes. These two are fabulous. The R Coupe concept and the Jaguar F. So this is basically what the F-Type would have been if they'd have carried on with the larger platform. So our cars are GTs, and obviously they could have made the F-Type from the basis of the XK8, XKR, XK, but they didn't. They used a smaller platform. This is what there would have been if they'd have carried on our platform. You can plainly see in the coupe concept the haunches of the XK8. You can see the front end treatment on the F-Type concept car is our car, and merged with the XK180. So beautiful, beautiful things. They've also got the first car, the launch car, and they've got the last car. So there's enough reasons to go see this thing, this museum, even if I wasn't being there. They've got an awful lot of other vehicles as well in the sort of XK8, XKR family, certain limited editions. They've got the James Bond cars. They've got the Jaguar from Austin Powers. They've got the I think there's only two in the world, XK180, which my friend Neil Moggleston has just finished his replica of, and is gorgeous. So I'm going to be there. That's the long and the short of it. And in terms of other meetings and gatherings, we shall let you know soon. But you guys can keep an eye on the Jaguar Breakfast Club and the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Museum website to keep up with what's going on there. Okay, dibby-dibby-do. So I'm coming back now, he says, to see what you guys are saying. Stop share. Okay, right, I've got a slightly funny view right now because I've got a delayed me. What's going on? Right. EBC rotors came on. Where was we? Where were we? Oh, there we go. Jaguar 1. On the exhaust, I'm thinking of putting a Y pipe and a gate so I can have pipes exiting by the rear wheel and also still use the main system if wanted. Any thoughts? Yeah, I want one too. Yeah, the idea of a exhaust valve quite appeals. The only compromise for me in terms of the changes to my exhaust is it's nice to have a really quiet car as well. And if you had the option of valving it, I'd go even louder. So yeah, very interested. Would you want to exit in front of the rear wheels? For ease, definitely. If you're not going to use the tailpipes, then the rear bumper might need some modding to make it look pretty. I suppose you could fit fog lights in there or something like that, or dummies. I'd be very interested to see what you got planned on that one, Gary. Gary Moores, thanks, John. No problem. Alex Russo, EBC rotors are amazing. Thank you, John. Yeah, I'm so made up with my EBC setup. So I've got the rotors, the pads, and the braided hoses. And if you've seen my stopping distance videos, still makes my neck ache to watch it. Brilliant, real change. Gerard Booth, great plan at Jaguar 1. I wish I could switch back to standard system for cruising on the motorway. Same thoughts, Gerard. Monica McCready, thanks, Robert, will do. So that's obviously something I've not read. Robert Twining. Oh, yeah, I missed a few. Robert Twining, try changing your expansion coolant tank. They split, which only leaks when under extreme pressure. Good call, Robert. Yeah, that's high enough up to be squirting a little bit of pink down into that area as well. That's good. Okay. Gerard Booth, mine's never had weights and doesn't have cats. Okay, mine's never had weight and doesn't have cats. I think Gareth was alluding to wouldn't have weights because it's got cats and that might interfere with it. But let's see if anybody's got the opposite scenario to you. Graham Walker, XKR, cats, Brembo, 20-inch Detroit wheels, and weights. Well, that's destroyed that. Yeah, this is going to run and run and run. Peter Knapp, be great to meet up and see some lovely Jags. Let's do it, Peter. Gerard Booth, yay! Result. Yeah, so you've got your way, Gerard. Udo, I've recently installed EBC discs and red pads. Very good. So recommendations all round. I do know that Udo had quite a delay in getting his stuff because EBC is a British company. One can only assume, you know, COVID played a big part in that. But yeah, it is worth saying if you're not in the UK and you're ordering from EBC, I don't know if you're going to get them quickly. I recommend them because I like the product. I'm not sponsored in any way at all. But whereas I keep saying, oh, they turn up real quick. That wasn't Udo's experience. Udo, let us know how long it took in the end, and whether you think it was just COVID or there's bigger issues. Hookie, hi all. Robert Twining, meat and camping sounds great. Yay. Robert Twining, Coventry. Yep. The Motor Museum was at Gaydon, which is Coventry in the biggest, broadest sense. Breakfast Club, yay. We going with the XKCC, brilliant. Yeah, XK Car Club, which is another great club if you're not familiar, guys. I very often, I've got a little area on their website where I post links to my videos and make the odd comment, etc. So that's a good club if you're interested in joining a club. Alex Rizzo, I'm afraid to drive in the UK. You're all driving on the left side. Yep, we're pretty scared most of the time too. Sounds like a date. JagVet1, still keep the main system for freeways. Yeah, I like this this two exhaust systems approach. Andrew McBurney, is that not illegal to have exhaust pipes exiting on the side of the car these days? It can't be illegal because kit cars, if you build a 7 copy, Lotus 7, or if you build a Cobra, then the default is to exit on the side. But they are not unhomologated, differently registered, let's say. So maybe for a production car it's an issue, not sure. Wouldn't think it's a problem. Tony Fisher, we drive on the correct side. Oh, what an argument. Just think what would happen if we changed ever. I think the only country that's done it in modern times is Sweden. I'm probably going to be blown out of the water on that. They actually, you know, midnight one night, they switched to driving on the right. Yeah, that's correct. They switched to driving on the right after years and years of driving on the left. Just imagine the disasters on the road. And how do you change the road signs? When do you change the road signs? And in America, Andrew, no problem. Monica McCready, thanks, John. Hookie, I came in late. When's the meetup? 4th of September, Gaydon, the XK8's 25th anniversary. Andrew McBurney, I've got XKR with cats, 2001, and no weights. JagVet1, EBC fast in USA. It's just because Udo wanted them. Yeah, Udo is a neighbour practically in Germany, and it took him forever. They're just picking on you, Udo. Stu, do you have a trailer to hook up to your camper to tow your Jag to the camping meet? I have a hook on the back. I don't have a trailer, but I'm sure Joe won't mind driving my camper. So we'll get both vehicles there. Right, so moving on to other things, because I've just realised how long we've been on this. Well, it's going nicely. I'm enjoying myself. One thing I wanted to raise, and it was a suggestion from Gary Van Remortel, sorry, was, can we start to put together a list of, from the experience of people with the oldest cars particularly, what parts break? What should we be getting in a stock of as maybe owners of younger cars, because it's gonna go and maybe availability is not going to be great. I think that's quite an interesting project, and I can't remember who mentioned it now. It may have been, let me just scroll up, Gerard, I think, but I could be wrong. I think it'd be an interesting thing to put together. My instinct is that the parts we're going to struggle with most in the future will be plastic parts. Steel stuff, there are people out there who are good at remanufacturing, making tools, etc. Plastic, different skill set, and you need volumes to make it work. The advent of 3D printing obviously means that replica stuff can generally be made at a price. But yeah, little bits of plastic, and maybe header tanks, to come on to Monica's issue, might be an issue in the future, because I'm pretty sure the XK8's header tank is different to all the other Jags header tanks. So I'd be really interested maybe in the comments below the video, once this is published as a standard vid, if we can start to suggest what parts would you put to one side and store for the future, because you know there's an issue. There's one part that stands out for me that I'd love to change, and it's always been a huge problem to get, but is just about to become available, and that is the waste seals on our cars. So where your glass winds down into your car, you've got a Dorchester grey metal strip with a rubber flap tooth blade on it. Those have been almost impossible to buy for a very long time, and if you can get them, they are horrendously expensive. I mean, £500 for a pair, something like that. I know that somebody's discovered that Mini Coopers, the BMW Mini, early ones of those on a convertible, I think, have such a similar waste seal that you can cut 1 inch off one end and that's it. You'd be hard pressed to know it wasn't a Jag one. And I also know, because I had a conversation with him not too long ago, that Jeff Adams, the guy who runs Adamesh, when I was ringing him up to order my exhaust, we had a long conversation, which included he was looking at potentially getting somebody tooled up to make the waste seals the right length, so that it's just buy and fit. That's an interesting little tidbit. But yeah, plastic parts and waste seals, they're at the top of my list at the moment. Right, I'm going to come once more back to the comments, and then we really ought to think about bedtime. Just checking my notes. There's nothing else I absolutely have to share with you tonight. Breakfast Club, going to XKCC, yes, 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 yes. Right, found where I got to. Robert Twining, my XK8 has 300 brake horsepower, but seems more fun to drive than my XKR, now running at 400 brake horsepower. Why is that? I really love an XK8. Superchargers give you loads and loads of power. nothing has the same response as a normally aspirated car. The pickup is better, simple as that. Also, the XK8 is a little lighter, and you can drive the wheels off an XK8 and enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, it's a properly powerful car, it's properly quick. You can't rag it like you can rag a Golf, something like that. But you can explore the limits. You can't do that with an XK8. I couldn't do that with an XKR. I'm not good enough. I would kill myself. And the UK roads aren't good enough to do with it. There's just so much torque in an XKR that you can spin it off the road at any speed. Yeah, for me, that's probably why I find an XK8 fun. It's really quick, but I can explore most of it. Gerard, can't claim that honour, John. Oh, so it wasn't you. Sorry, I've obviously dissed somebody else. Jagvet1, it's pronounced Van Remore Tall, I think. Is that because he's very tall, or is that really how it's pronounced? He has sent me phonetics before, and I keep getting it wrong. Remortel, Remortal, Remortal. Convertible top rubbers that surround the door glass. Yeah, the seals. I think a lot of the seals could be a big issue going forward. And the convertibles particularly, it's far more complicated on a convertible than it is on the coupes. Robert Twining, ABS rings are hard to get in the UK, and they wear out every 60 to 80,000 miles. Another good call. Gerard, waste seals on the X308 Sports, even more of a problem, as the magnesium strip inside corrodes and blows the seal apart. Wow, our sister car has just as many foibles as the XK8. On X308s, I was talking to Gareth Davies just before we started this video. He sent me a great video clip that he did on his phone, but the sound quality is not quite good enough to suffer translation to you folk. He's got an interesting noise on his X308. It's an X308 Sport, XJ V8 for the rest of you guys. And when you back off after accelerating, it makes a whooshing, whirring, almost wastegate-like sound that he thinks may be coming from the gearbox. He's already changed the idler and tensioner pulleys to see if that was it, and it isn't. The location of the sound and the nature of the sound is really hard to pin down, but it's not right. Any ideas on what that is would be gratefully appreciated either in this chat or in the comments below this video in a bit. I know he'd be interested. And X308 fans, at the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Museum, they have the only two-door convertible X308. That's a good enough reason to go, I reckon. Right. Waste seals, oil cooler in and out pipes, always out of stock. I agree, they are hard to get, but you can always get them made, I suppose, because hydraulic pipes. Graham Walker, Robert Twining, there's a company makes them very near me in Links. Oh, look at that for instant help. Oh, well done. Oh, Robert Twining. Sorry, I'm reading this wrong. So what was Robert's missing item? I thought you meant Andrew Burney's, the oil cooler. Right, so coming on. Wondering what the difference is between a 4-litre 97 284 and a 294 horsepower engine. Is it electronics only? The lower horsepower is mostly down to early cars have a 2-stage variable valve timing setup. So it's just got variable valve off, variable valve on. Later cars have fully variable valve timing, and so the tune is slightly different. And a lot of other little bits and bobs, but that's probably the most significant change. Jussi Pitkänen, cheers from Finland. Today, 2 young boys looked back to my car, driving roof down, even before hearing the Adam S Stage 2 note, tells me that we are driving future classics for sure. I think we're driving current classics, really do. Robert Twining, great to hear. Robert Twining, thanks for your help. Old Jag, it was me. Old Jag, it was you. Ah, brilliant. Thank you, Old Jag. Sorry, and my memory doesn't even last 10 minutes. Richard Scully, nice moment for you, Jussie. Jagvet1, thank you for doing this. It's great fun. Graham Walker, I was referring to the ABS rings. There's a company near Graham that makes ABS rings in Lincolnshire. Right, got to the bottom of that. Right, I'm going to draw a line under this now, guys, because by my estimation, we've been rocking on for an hour. I thought, well, I've got 3 things to talk about. We'd have half an hour chat, but when you're amongst people who are into the same things as you, it's quite good fun. And like normal, I am trapped away from home, so you've been my entertainment for the night. Hope you've enjoyed this. I shall look at doing another one of these in a fortnight's time, potentially on a Wednesday evening again. If you've got any particular input you'd like discussed or a question you'd like answered and you think this is the right forum to do it, feel free to send it in, put it in a comment below this video, or you can email it to john@tothegarage.co.uk. There is absolutely no way I can answer every email anymore. There is absolutely no way I can answer every comment anymore. I keep up almost with the comments, but take it with a pinch of salt. I can't answer everything. Gerard says, my wife has just reminded me that the 4th of September is just after our wedding anniversary. So it looks like being an expensive weekend. Yeah, but I'm sure your wife's going to be thrilled at that as a prize for the wedding anniversary, Gerard. I'm sorry, Mrs. Booth, but trust me, you'll love it. Graham Walker, this was fun. Chris H, great to listen in. Stu N, what do you do for a living? I have explained a couple of times to various people. I'll try the really short one. I am a consultant, which is, I know, an offensive phrase to some people. I work for myself. I advise companies on how to be more efficient, and my standard customer is car plants, car parts manufacturers, etc. But I'll help anybody, and I've helped everybody from an abattoir to the National Apprenticeship Scheme to an apple grading company, but I'm more at home with brake pads, turbochargers, and Jaguars. So yeah, work for myself basically. How long is your sentence, Gerard? Cheers, John, at all for top banter. Monica McCready, cheers. See you, Monica. Gerard Booth, have a nice week. Great Zoom meet. See you all at Gaydon. Robert Twining, see ya. And I'm going to sign off there for real this time. Thank you very much, guys. Possibly see you in 2 weeks' time on the next Wednesday evening. I will put some sort of indicator up there if it's going to happen. And love you all. Bye. Now, how do I turn you all